Blog Talk Radio.
Dangerfield is President and CEO of Positive Life Network Organization. Positive Life Network is a clearinghouse for all things positive. They are creating the platforms online and offline for speakers, teachers, and leaders to brand together to unite the flame for positive change and helping to make differences in the way we experience our lives. Whether business or personal, Positive Life Network believes that continual education and personal development is the fastest way to success, and that best way to creating a climate of positive change in our community is to inspire others and be inspired. Ashley has come from 17 years of real estate sales and training, and now following her lifelong dream of Positive Life Network. I'll tell you a little bit. I think Ashley's having a little bit of problem signing in, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I know Ashley. A couple of years ago, I went to Charleston, South Carolina, to a conference. I did not know anyone, and this was my first time ever traveling that far alone. I had nobody with me, and I had no clue where I was going, and I was dependent on the GPS. Well, you know, your first time, I was a nervous wreck. I kind of enjoyed the peace, but I was a nervous wreck. I walked in to the room, which was already half full of all the attendees, and sat at this table. Instantly, I was drawn to this one table. Ashley and Shannon, which you'll get to hear from her Monday. She's our special guest tomorrow, and she has a powerful story, so make sure you bring your Kleenexes because you're going to need them. So Ashley was there, Shannon, Monica, and a few others, and it was one of the most inspiring events, not because of the event itself, because of Ashley and Shannon and Monica just really made the whole thing wonderful. We also met one of the speakers, Nora, which is a branding expert, and she's powerful, and I hope to have her on the call soon. I'll be heading to, matter of fact, this coming week, I'll be heading to Charleston, South Carolina, where I'm going to meet up with all the ladies, and we are going to have a blast. So I think Ashley is on, so hold on just a second. Ashley, you there?
I am. Do you hear me?
I can hear you. Hold on just a second. I'll put you on speaker here. All right, Ashley, so we've introduced you. I guess did you miss it?
I didn't. I got most of it.
Well, good. All right, so Positive Life Network is Ashley's dream. And I'm telling you that Ashley promises to bring us some juicy nuggets tonight that we can take to the bank. So I want you guys to welcome Ashley. Ashley, it's awesome to have you here with us tonight.
Well, thank you, Bonnie. It's a pleasure. It always is.
Well, what are you up to these days before we jump in?
Well, besides working on my Positive Life Network and working on different pieces of that, I'm working in real estate. I've been in real estate for 16 years now, and I've decided to turn to a little bit more of the training and recruiting and coaching, because that's more along the lines of who I am, and, you know, just a natural graduation from, you know, being in sales for 16 years. So I'm really enjoying it. I've been doing it for about 2 months. I really love working one-on-one with each of the individual agents, and also agents that are individuals that are getting into the business and, just making that transition into owning your own business and running, getting into the real estate field. So I'm finding a lot of pleasure working with those people. I've always liked introducing new concepts and new ideas about growing your business. And since I had 16 years in real estate and I feel like I almost knew everything in real estate, it seemed a natural fit for me. So that's what I've been up to for the last 2 months.
Well, Ashley is awesome because I have a friend of mine on Facebook which lives locally, and she's done something that I really don't think anybody else has done, and this is right up your alley, only she's in nursing. She has her doctorate degree in nursing, and she's noticed how hard it is for new graduates of college to pass this test that you have to take. And I know that in real estate, the test that you have to pass is really hard as well. But what she's done is she's opened up it's kind of a tutoring school, but she has everything. When you walk in, it looks like a college, really a whole college in her one building. And she teaches people that have been trying to be nurses and pass this test for 10 years, I think is the longest one. And after her tutoring them and getting them ready for the test, I don't think she's had anybody to fail that test, even people that have taken it over and over and over again. So for you to be coaching in that field, it would be phenomenal for you to be able to help people to pass that test. Because like I said, I've heard that it's really hard.
Well, Bonnie, the whole thing about it is we take you on different steps, whether it's just getting you into school and getting you through those classes to giving you rundown before you take the test, a little study session, but the real work comes after that. I mean, the test is hard, yes. We typically don't have a lot of people that, fail it because of our study sessions, but the real learning comes after that because, once you get through your classes and you get your license, the real learning comes after that. Most of the things that you learn in school are just the things to get you your license. But most people, that's only about 10% of your learning. The rest of it's going to come doing the business. And when people don't realize sometimes they think when they're going to sell real estate, they're just going to work for a company, and the company is, like a job. And it's not. It's about running your own business. So what we have, the next level of that is, number one, setting goals, defining what those goals are, defining how to run your own business and what kind of goals you have, and to complement that. But also the next step is fast track. Fast track is 12 classes that you take. One's on contracts, one's on your sphere of influence, the next one's on open houses. So you get those basics. Then your training comes in success track. It's about taking those skills, taking them to the next level, and catering them to you specifically. And then, of course, after that, it's still a learning process. We have to go through and continue to learn and continue to, understand the market because it's, that marketing, what you did 2 years ago has changed so much, especially in real estate. Real estate has changed so much in the last 12 years that, every year you need to be, basically learning new stuff, learning the new products, learning the new market, just constantly learning stuff. So we also take you at that point. At that point, we're taking you to the next level. Maybe you plateaued after 2 years. Maybe you got out of the business and you came back. So there's constantly just learning on different levels each person, and that's what I like. I like taking somebody where they're at and bringing them, where they want to be. That's why it was such a natural, match for me to do real estate coaching after doing real estate for 16 years.
Well, I'm gonna throw this out there, so I'm gonna put you under the bus right now. Ashley knows how to do Google Hangouts, y'all, and I have tried to figure it out, and I'm probably doing it right, but it kind of freaks me out when all these doors open. It looks like they're opening up to eternity So when I get to Charleston, I've already kind of twisted Ashley's arm and asked her if she would help teach me Google Hangouts. So when I get back, I'm going to head that way and test the waters. So she said she would, so I'm going to hold her to it.
All right, hold me to it.
Well, I will. Ashley, I want you to share, we have, how much time do we have left? We've got 19 and a half minutes left. So I want you to share your 4 suggestions for keeping ourselves as well as our life balanced.
Well, it's interesting that you had said that, because right now there's a couple of changes in my life personally. My career has changed. I've gone from just solely doing working in real estate, that I was working on my Positive Life Network, and now I'm back doing coaching. So, balance is very key to, staying at peace with yourself and knowing what to focus on. Right now, the reason I went back to doing some coaching in real estate is because I needed that balance. I love my passion. I love my dream. I love Positive Life Network. There are some pieces of it that don't serve me yet, and a lot of that was financial. So one part of balance is being able to recognize that just because something is just your passion and that you really want to do it and that's all you want to do, being realistic in the fact that sometimes you have to step back a little bit and say, okay, well, maybe I need to do something along the lines, still work on it, but still take care of my finances. So that's one piece of balance, is knowing when to take action in different directions and not put all your eggs in one basket, or just the opposite. Sometimes you get to a place where you might be off balance and you need to put them all in one basket. So it's really interesting that each person, as they're accomplishing different things, different careers, different passions, different dreams in their life, each one of them, I believe, is a balancing act and knowing when. It's difficult because most of the time finding that balance is not just, nobody just puts, the little weights on one side. We don't just keep putting things on there and it just always balanced. Most of the time you put something on one side and it throws everything off balance on the other side. Then you throw something on the other side and it throws balance off on the other side. So it's this constant learning of how to keep your life balanced, keep your career balanced, keep your goals balanced, keep your personal life balanced. And it's a challenge for us all. I don't care who you are. I don't care what business you're in, what job you're in. If you're a stay-at-home mom or small business owner, or you have a job you've had for 30 years, it's a constant learning of what is going to keep the balance in your life. That's one piece of balance. The other one is, everyone has moments when their life is challenging. I can go through a whole list of things that either I've gone through or my friends have gone through or my family has gone through, whether it be deaths and divorces and marriages and babies and college and, adversity, different things that people go through tend to throw us off balance. They don't tend to throw us off balance. They actually do throw us off balance. And it's such a skill, it's such a character trait to be able to, take on that adversity and stay focused and keeping a great attitude and keeping that internal peace and joy. And on top of that, staying true to who you are. So, I do have 4 suggestions of things that I've used going through some of the challenges and adversities and, some things that have gone on with my family, I've been moving and, different things. I have 4 suggestions. I sat down and thought them out, and I said, well, what is my key nuggets that I can, tell people, so I can explain on how I do it. It might not work for you. Most of them are pretty generic. They will probably work for everyone, but maybe you focus on one more than the other. So I have some things I have suggestions for, and there's 4 of them. So, and I'm going to end with my favorite. So, and I know you'll like it. I did it just for you. Yeah, you'll know it when you hear it. You'll know it. So, my number one, and like I said, this is not in any order. There's just 4 of them. But the first one being, the first solution being, is boundaries. And I know we've read books and everybody said, well, you need to set proper boundaries. But, it's the boundaries that I'm talking about is to disconnect, separate yourself, put some distance between those things that are not bringing you balance in your life. So if you start to recognize those things that throw you off balance on a daily basis or a weekly basis, it's to start putting some distance between those. If it's an individual, you don't have to say, hey, I don't want you in my life anymore, but maybe I won't call you every day. Maybe I'll make that call a 5-minute call instead of an hour phone call. Maybe I'll just, just push back a little bit and put them in the proper place. If it's something that you're doing, something that you're doing to yourself, maybe you should recognize, okay, well, every time I do this, it seems to throw me off balance. If it's, if you eat too much, if you wake up too late, if you tend to, have some bad habits that you created that throw you off balance, then, that's the time, that's what I mean by proper boundaries. On the other half of that, drawing near the things that provide you the balance. If taking a walk in the morning for 30 minutes brings you balance and you don't put that in your day, then you don't really want balance. If at the end of the day you like to take a bath and that's just the time for you to relax and try to, just to bring you peace, then you need to do that. And so those boundaries, is separating from the things that throw you off balance and drawing near the things that do. Maybe it is a person. Maybe it is every time I talk to Bonnie, I have some peace, and I have some clarity, I feel good, and I have joy. So if that's the truth, then you do that. And so those are the things. It's almost like the scales, tipping the scales in one direction or another. So taking control of those, taking control of the scales. How about that? That's it. Yeah. Taking control of the scale. That's what the boundaries that I'm talking about.
That sounds good.
So yeah. Well, that leads into number 2. When I was talking about the bath and, or walking or talking or whatever, is taking the time to take care of yourself, no matter what.
And that's the hardest thing for a woman.
Oh, I know. And I think it's hard for men, too. It's just women tend to wear that on their sleeve more. Men can compartmentalize a little bit better. However, I think for both men and women, men have to take care of themselves, too. Without feeling guilty to say, oh, look at you, you just care about yourself. Well, if you don't care about yourself, you don't care for yourself, we all know the cliche, if you don't take care of yourself first, you can't take care of others.
Yeah, I see it a lot in women, though, because we have our husbands and our home and our friends and our family and our coworkers, our children, and we just want to take care of everybody. And we've always put ourselves last.
Yes, that's for sure. Yeah, that is for sure. It is typical. It is typical for women to, that's probably number 1 on the women's list, more so than men. But at the end of the day, taking care of your health and taking care of your peace and sanity and relaxing, and it should be first and foremost. And usually it's not. It's usually the last thing. And that's one of the things that once you're out of balance, that's not the first thing you think of. The first thing you think of when you're out of balance and you're, overwhelmed is not, how can I take care of myself? All you're trying to do is, climb out of the hole. You're trying to climb out of the hole. You're not thinking, maybe I should just take some time off. Even though everybody's screaming at you and you got things piled up, your things to do list is 8 pages long, that's usually not the first thing that comes to your mind. Is how can I take care of me? So number 3, like I said, this is kind of progressive because number 3 is about breathing in and breathing out. And that's a cliche, too. I have a little thing on my refrigerator that says breathe in. And sometimes I realize that I'm really not. And it's not that I'm not breathing, but I'm not really taking the time to just breathe in.
It's funny that you would when you're overwhelmed.
Right.
It doesn't have anything to do with business, but I'll tell you something really quickly so you can get back to it. I took my son to the doctor a couple of weeks ago, and this is my tall, broad-shouldered son that he needed some blood work done, and it was his first time at this doctor, and it's actually my doctor. And if there's anything wrong, this doctor's going to find out what's wrong with you. So he wanted to, of course, do some blood work. Well, my son's never had a problem with blood work. and for some reason, he wound up having a seizure in the middle of the needle in his arm, and it just freaked the phlebotomist out and me, and everybody came running, and we were trying to hold him up, and, you know, she was trying to get the needle out of his arm, and it was just chaos like you wouldn't believe. And I'm trying to get him to wake up, and the secretary comes through. She stands at the window, and she says, "Ms. Bradshaw, breathe." I said, "What?" Breathe. So everything wound up being okay, but it was, I mean, she told me it just looked like I was holding my breath and I couldn't breathe.
That's interesting. I've had the same. You know, I really don't do well with needles. I'm 41 years old. The needles still freak me out. And every time I give blood, the nurse always says, "You're not breathing. You're going to make yourself pass out." I'm like, well, maybe that's why I've passed out every single time, is because I will stop breathing. And, you know, that's why I put it on the list, is because, you know, when we're overwhelmed and, you know, trying to accomplish so much, a lot of times we just don't realize that, you know, and a lot of it's, you know, it's an analogy, but a lot of times we just don't realize that we're just not breathing. We're just not taking it in and, you know, pushing it back out. So the breathe in, you know, the breathe in, breathe out is about tackling, honestly, it's really about tackling one thing at a time. When you have, you know, hefty goals, and you have, you know, like you said, the you know, the kids and the friends and the family and the housework and the personal stuff and your journaling and your yoga, I mean, all that stuff, is, you know, we tend always to get overwhelmed, and that's what throws us off balance. But being overwhelmed
is a juicy nugget, Ashley, because you're right. I mean, tackling one thing at a time, that is not my forte. That is the thing that I have the hardest issue with, because I've got so much going at one time.
Well, the funny thing is that you say that, is that when I think of, in my head, I think when I listen, I know that as women make better multitaskers than men. They don't want to be a multitasker. They want to do one thing at a time. Women tend to be, you know, known for being multitaskers. But if you ask me who my one friend is that is the best multitasker, I'm going to say Bonnie.
Well, thanks.
I'm sure. Yes, I'm going to say she's the best multitasker ever. But, but you know, but even if you're multitasking, though, I do believe that when you look at your things to do list and you have so much to do, you know, instead of getting off balance and not being so productive, is to still take on one thing at a time and getting it off your list. Sit down and do it. Sit down, take that action on that one thing, and just do it. And you know, I know that I'm going to do another cliche. I hate cliches, but I like them because they really do, you know, make a lot of sense. Yeah. Well, you know, it's that book, Eat That Frog. And what that means is looking at that thing to do list and doing the hardest thing first. The one thing that gives you the most anxiety, the one thing you feel like is going to be the hardest thing to do that you keep pushing off and pushing off and pushing off. Well, what that does in our mind is it's constantly sitting there going, oh, God, I got to do that. Oh, my God, I got to do that. And what happens is it makes everything else not as enjoyable. You tend to be focusing on the other thing that you haven't done, that you need to do, that you were supposed to do yesterday. It's probably not going to get done today because you accomplished 12 other things on your list. So instead, and I know sometimes I don't take my own advice.
Actually, I don't mean to interrupt, but we've got 5.5 minutes, and I want to make sure I get everything in, so I'm going to be totally quiet and let you go.
Okay. So eating that frog, that means doing the thing that gives you the most anxiety first, so you can get it out of the way, get it off the list, mark it with a big black marker, get it done. Then you can accomplish. Then you'll feel like a sense of accomplishment, and the rest of your day has, like I said, confidence. The rest of the day. And last but not least, you'll love this one. It's number 4. It is what I'm going to end with. It's the first part is kind of negative. What we do, what the fuels the most, what throws off our balance the most, are those feelings and thoughts of worry, fear, doubt, stress, anger, sadness. All those things are designed to perfectly throw off your game. period. That is, there's no good that comes out of any of those. There's nothing good comes of all that. And so what do you do with that? Well, in order to balance, because this is what this is about, in order to have balance, you need to come up with the opposite of that. So instead of thinking about that, you sit down, you breathe in, you breathe out, and you start thinking about the opposites. And the opposites of those, when I sat down to write them down, I said faith, accepting where you are, accepting why you're here where you are, having confidence in yourself, relaxing. But the key point of that, I'm going to quote Hebrews 11:1, called Now Faith. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for will actually happen, and the assurance about what we do not see. Yeah. I'm going to do it one more time. Hebrews 11:1 is now faith, is confidence in what we hope for will actually happen, and assurance about what we do not see. And the reason I say now faith means right now. It doesn't mean when I get this list done, I will have faith that I can carry on. Once I, drop 10 pounds, I have faith that I can get healthy. Once once I have this, 1 week behind me, then I will have faith that I can do this business. Once I have like real estate, once I have one closing, I will have faith I can actually do this. But see, that's what we do. We set ourselves up, and that's not now faith. Now faith is right this second.
Wow, powerful.
Period.
I'm so
it's right now. Yeah. It was one of those things that hit me when somebody was doing that, because I was doing that in my head going, yeah, faith is good. I can have that next week. Once I get unpacked in my new house, then I'll have faith. Then I'll know everything will work out. And so then, when that person hit me with that now faith, he drew a line in the sand. It drew a line in the sand and said, no, either you have faith now or you just don't have faith. And so to keep balance in your life, yes, do all four, but at the end of the day, you have to have now faith.
I love that. That is so good, Ashley. I might use that. I'm going to quote Ashley.
That was your gift. That was your gift.
Well, thank you. I love that. Now faith. So we have to have faith right now in what we're doing right now to accomplish what we want to accomplish, not only now, but in the near future and the distant future. Because if we don't have faith in our abilities or faith that it's going to happen, then we might as well just hang it up and forget about it. So because all we're going to do is have anxiety over, is it going to happen and will it happen? And then we're wasting all our time and effort by worrying about everything, and we need to be putting that energy into actually getting it done.
Yes, exactly. Now you're off balance. Yep. As soon as you put that word, remember I said as soon as you put that worry in there, you're off balance.
Yeah.
So you have to pick. You have to pick one. You can't have faith and be unbalanced. If you have faith, you will be in balance. You can't have worry, fear, doubt, stress, and be balanced. Period.
That's right. So I told you earlier I was going to throw you under the bus about the Google. I think the way you explain things is wonderful. I've heard you talk more than once. That you should go on YouTube and just do a YouTube video on Google Hangout, step 1, step 2, to make it easier for people, because there's so many people that don't know how to use it, and I'm one of them, and I really want to learn, so I'm looking forward to that. And I hope, Ashley, that if you're not using YouTube, that you will start to use YouTube on just giving nuggets out there. We've got 40 seconds, so I'm going to talk quick. But putting some nuggets out there, some how-to, something real simple. Don't give away everything you've got. But, some how-tos to help people to maybe first thing in the morning, good morning, and this is what you need to do, and your little tidbits of advice, because people need that. And they need it on Facebook. They need it everywhere, because sometimes getting up and putting one foot in front of the other is the hardest thing that some people can ever do.
I know. Amen.
All right. So, guys, I'm so happy that Ashley was here tonight, and we've got no seconds left. So, Ashley, we love you and so glad you were here.
I can't wait to see you, Bonnie.
This week, girl. Talk to you later. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right, you too. Bye.